Hi, this is Mike Larson for Money and Markets TV. Europe's a lovely place to visit, but its economy is heading off a cliff. From one end of the continent to the other, a double-dip recession is striking with brutal force, despite the hundreds of billions of euros that politicians and central bankers have thrown at the problem. Just look at the numbers, folks. A key index of industrial activity in the Eurozone recorded its worst reading in more than 2 years in April, and the main European Purchasing Managers Index fell to its lowest level in 9 months. A big reason for these declines is the weak performance of the PIGS nations of Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, and Spain. But now there's evidence that the recession is spreading from the periphery of Europe to the core. For instance, Germany's manufacturing index just sank to its lowest level in 33 months, and German unemployment just rose unexpectedly. Overall, unemployment in the 17-nation Eurozone jumped to 10.9% in March, the highest since the euro currency was launched 13 years ago. All this weakness presents a grave danger to European banks, because not only do they have to worry about growing losses on private securities and loans, they also have to worry about massive losses on public securities they hold, a huge hoard of government bonds that has only gotten larger in the past few months. You see, the European Central Bank has doled out more than €1 trillion in nearly free money to hundreds of banks across the continent through 2 long-term refinancing operations, or LTROs. Unfortunately, the banks didn't use that money to lend to companies and individuals, or to shore up their balance sheets. Instead, they just bought more of the same lousy sovereign bonds that got them into trouble in the first place. Spanish banks increased their holdings of Spanish government bonds by 26% to €220 billion in just the first 2 months of this year. Italian banks raised their stake in Italian government debt by 31% to €267 billion. Irish and Portuguese banks jacked up their exposure to sovereign debt as well. Here's the bottom line. You have a European economy that's sinking into a double-dip recession, and you have a European financial system that's buried under a massive and growing mountain of troubled government bonds. Now, a lot of US investors are trying to ignore these warning signs, and they've pushed the Dow up to around 13,000. But with the world as interconnected as it is these days, what happens in Europe will impact our companies and markets here. We're already hearing some companies warn that weakness in Europe is hurting their bottom lines. I expect to hear more such warnings and for investors to sit up and take notice. So please make sure you have select downside hedges in place, and make sure your upside plays are in ironclad, rock-solid companies that can withstand the deepening European crisis. I'm Mike Larson for Money and Markets TV. Thanks for watching.